Do you want to know how one of my clients who has 5 kids and who up against all odds was still able to build a $114 million online fitness business? Want to know how she did it? Want to know the thought patterns that allowed her to navigate the journey of entrepreneurship and allowed her to scale one of the fastest growing companies in the entire state of Florida? If that's of interest to you, then I've got a special surprise. Because right now, I'm gonna shift over into an interview I did with her from one of our recent events. Her name is Tress, and I think this will inspire you and show you what people at the highest level think and how they act to achieve incredible outcomes, and not just financially, but the impact of what she's been able to do with her business, to be able to help more than 270,000 people improve their health and fitness through her coaching programs. So if you want to learn how she's done it all, then watch the interview that's coming up right now. Grab a pen and paper. I think this will inspire you.
Let me give you guys a little bit of background about who Amanda is. And again, like with all of these little backgrounds, I'm never going to do them justice. But Amanda, I've known for, to say, 6-ish years. She was actually one of our first Luminaries clients. And when we first spoke, I'm like, this lady's going to do some big things. She is the creator of the Faster Way to Fat Loss, which is the world's premier virtual intermittent fasting, fitness, and nutrition program. Essentially, they teach clients, predominantly women, but also men, how to burn fat and live a healthy lifestyle through intermittent fasting, carb cycling, macro tracking, whole food nutrition, and strategic workouts. She's got a burning desire to help a lot of women. And I think both on the fitness and financial side, which we'll tap into, but it's allowed her to generate more in their company, more than $100 million in revenue. They've been recognized as one of the fastest growing companies in the entire state of Florida. And she's been able to do all this while raising 4 kids and having a pretty amazing relationship with her husband, Brandon, and obviously her kids as well. So Amanda, I'm really, really excited to kind of get inside your mind a little bit and really show everyone here what it takes to get to the level of success that you've had. So does that sound good?
Absolutely.
All right. So let's dive in with this. I remember when, I don't know when it was, but I remember you mentioned to me when you were 13, 14-ish, you said, I will be a multimillionaire by the time I'm 30.
Yes.
Where did that come from? And how has that fueled you through your whole journey?
Wow, that's such a great question. And, I haven't thought a lot about where it came from. So thank you for putting me on the spot. My father is entrepreneurial. I watched my older siblings really kind of struggle financially. My oldest sister is 11 years older than me and went bankrupt when I was in school. And I just remember watching how painful that was. My father is an amazing entrepreneur, but he's not good at managing money. He would spend money before he really made money type thing. So we grew up struggling financially, and I was very aware of that. And I also grew up with my husband. I am the youngest of 3 girls. He is the youngest of 3 boys. And we were best friends since first grade. And he watched his family struggle as well. And so I think very early on, in high school, we decided we were going to be different. And so we actually had a little company called A&B, painting, mulching, etc. when we were in high school. And we'd work like 70 hours a week, painting houses, mulching, doing all kinds of jobs. And, we were being paid pretty well. But the whole time we'd work, we would listen to financial management tapes, like cassette tapes. Like not music from a boombox, like literally financial management trainings. And I remember picking up books from Barnes and Noble, Millionaire by 30 and different things. So really early on, we kind of watched our family struggle and decided we were going to be different. So when we went to college, I had already been working quite a bit. I was entrepreneurial. I started training clients my freshman year of college and was literally working 5 jobs through college. My husband decided to become an accountant. And I always tell young women now, I say, marry an attorney or an accountant. Like that's absolutely,
combination.
Yeah. But, in regard to becoming a millionaire, for me, it was more about the freedom and the financial piece, more than income. It's freedom, financial peace, it's impact. But I had some really important mentors in my life. Maybe I was 19, 20, and I'd say, I'm going to be a millionaire by 30. And the best mentors in my life said, okay, great. How? And so it really kind of got my wheels turning of, creating a plan. And my goal was to be a millionaire by 30. I also was planning to retire by 34. So from like 21 years old, our retirement accounts were called Retire by 34. And so we had like a very substantial multi-million dollar goal by 34. And we hit that goal in 2019. And so now everything we do is by choice, which is a really great place to be.
That's amazing. I also want to clarify for everyone here that you're way more than just the money, right? Like every time we have spoken and hung out, like it comes out of your pores how passionate you are about helping women and empowering them and doing way more good. It's never just about like, yeah, I made this money, whatever.
Yes.
So this is always driven you, and how does it continue to drive you? Like you're at a point now where you don't have to work if you don't have to. So what drives you to keep getting up every morning, to keep growing faster rate of fat loss, to keep going and going and going when you could just check out and call it a day?
Yeah. And I think, that's the really amazing part of my life is that I don't have to work. So everything I do is simply because of my purpose and my mission. And I have two missions. One is to equip and empower clients all over the world to transform their lives physically with Faster Way. And then my second vision is to empower women and men in the wellness industry to earn significant income so they can recirculate their own wealth to their family, church, and community. And I believe this is one of the most important ways to solve problems in the world. And whether it was through my digital marketing agency for women in fitness that I had when I first met you, or the Faster Way business and certification model, income has never been my end game. It's been a goal. And I think income goals are important. If you don't pay attention to money, then it's a problem. But for me, it's definitely about fulfilling that mission and vision. And I'm just more energized now than ever before. And it has nothing to do with money. We are like set for life. Our kids are set, best place possible to be. But we are just extremely passionate and motivated to now build $1 billion brand.
It's amazing. So you had the agency back in the day, you had Fast Rate of Fat Loss, you're kind of juggling both.
Yes.
What lesson did you learn about trying to do two things at once?
Yes. Okay. So everyone listening, please know that Yuri Elkaim was the most influential person when it came to helping me manage my focus. And I now tell my team, don't simply manage your time, manage your focus. Yuri, you said to me, probably before I even invested in Luminaries, the most successful entrepreneurs are engineers. The most successful entrepreneurs are individuals who can focus on one thing for a decade. And at the time when I first met you, I was ramping up my agency. I was making, multiple seven figures. But I was launching new products every single quarter. I was launching Instagram Academy, Periscope Academy, Live Video Academy, so many different courses, business accelerator, mentorship, this and that. I had like 13 revenue streams when I first met you. And you said, listen, you have to keep the main thing, the main thing. And something really interesting happened. I created Faster Way to Fat Loss, really just to be a testing ground for my agency clients. And then I built a certification around it because many of my agency clients were not good with programming. So I wanted to give them a turnkey solution for their own clients. But when I saw the scalability and the potential of Faster Way, the month after having my third baby, I said, I owe it to her. I owe it to the marketplace to manage my focus and to keep the main thing. So I shut down my agency and I started focusing only on Faster Way. And that was, in 2018. And since then we've grossed over $114 million. And we now, in 2022 are really going to blow things up in a cool way.
Yeah, that's amazing. What do you think one of the skills you've had to develop that has allowed you to grow? And how have those skills changed from when you started to where they are now?
That's a really thoughtful question. So I am an entrepreneur and I like to create and sell and market. But what I've had to learn how to do is become a CEO. And I wouldn't necessarily say that being a CEO is my zone of genius. Recruiting a management team, leading that management team, looking at spreadsheets occasionally, you want to make me really stressed out, force me to look at a spreadsheet, but this is what I have to do as a CEO versus just simply an entrepreneur. And there's so many times that I'm like, oh, I miss that fun phase of just creating something and selling it and just that rush. For me, marketing is my highest value in the entire marketplace in the world. Really micro influencer marketing is like my jam, but 95% of my time now is focused on leading and delegating and doing things that are not super fun and sexy. When I do get to sell, when my team unleashes me for a minute, that is like, that kind of gives me the energy that I need then to continue moving forward and leading a team. But through this season, I'm confident that being a CEO and leading the team really is the most important thing for me to do. And then eventually I'll have a management team who is fully running the operations, and I'll be able to move more into a chief visionary officer role, and then make some new things in the future, which will be really great.
Yeah. No, it's true. And like, have you noticed that? I think where a lot of entrepreneurs that I've seen kind of get derailed is they like that excitement, right? We all do, because we're these dopamine junkies in some way, shape, or form. But I've recognized, and I don't know if you have as well, is that your business almost gets boring to a certain extent. And you almost have to be okay with that, because when we start chasing excitement, we can start, setting off all sorts of landmines in the business. Is that something you've recognized as well?
Yes. Yeah. And thank you for just saying how it is. There are so many boring aspects of what I do now. And I think that's what the struggle is, but just continuing to focus on my mission, my vision, and realizing that even the boring things right now are my highest value. And then looking toward the future of there is going to be a light at the end of the tunnel where I can kind of move myself out of kind of that mundane. But right now we're just on it's just rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse. I've been literally doing the same social media strategy for 5.5 years and answering the same questions for 5.5 years. And right now I just have to find the joy in that process, because I know, I just believe in the end of the story, and the end of the story doesn't involve me doing boring things. So I just have to hold that vision.
Yeah. And the market often, we get bored of our marketing before the marketplace does, right? Because if you're doing it every single day, or even the processes, but the people on the outside don't see that. So it's a lot of times fresh and new for them. But I think it's important perspective, just to be okay with that repetitive stuff, because, it's very tempting to start something new and do something exciting. But, like you're saying, Amanda, it's very challenging to do more than one thing really, really well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. I'm trying to think of an athlete. I mean, the decathletes are probably the only athletes that can do 10 events, but if you put the winning decathlete in the 100-meter versus the winning 100-meter sprinter, who's going to win? Right? The 100-meter sprinter, because that's their specialty, that's their focus. So when you look, going back to drive, your purpose, etc., why not call it a day after, doing your first million? What is it inside of you? What gets you up in the morning? What are the thoughts in your mind that allow you to, you hit a specific revenue number or a certain impact level, and you're like, cool, awesome. I could call it a day. I could, some people would coast at that point, but what is the thought pattern in your mind that says, is it, this is not enough, we got to keep going, there's more people to help? What does that thought process look like for you?
Yeah. And, I think that it's hard to understand or resonate with unless you've been in it. But, for me, we now have accumulated, tens of millions of dollars. We are set. But I never have done it just simply for me. If it was just all about me, I would still be working a job. If it was I would just be in a comfortable job. I love and live for the text messages I get, like one this morning from a coach who said, I just have to thank you for giving me this opportunity, this business model, this certification. I've taken an entire month off with my baby, just had my baby. I'm so grateful that I've still been able to earn income, that I have a sustainable business. Can I treat your team to lunch this week? Those are the types of text messages that I live for, and the ripple effect of watching other coaches who work for me earn income and then create their own charities or give back. Right now we are actually launching a church in Clearwater, Florida. And for me, it's about being able to do amazing things in my community in addition to the marketplace. But me, Yuri, it's great to have tens of millions of dollars, but my plan is to build $1 billion brand. And, also for me, I think I've spoken with all of the owners of all of the fitness and nutrition brands on the market. You name them, I've spoken with them. Nutrisystem, Slim Fast, Weight Watchers, literally all of them have spoken with me. I still do a little bit of consulting on the side because I like to keep my enemies close. But, the types of questions that these people ask of me make me so angry about the nonsense in the nutrition and fitness industry. And I am extremely passionate about bringing integrity back into fitness and nutrition, because women all over the country and men deserve to have a sustainable, healthy program. And most of these other companies, 99.9% of them, focus on a breakage model, or they want to actually convince this mom of 3 that she failed because she didn't comply with their crap food protocol. And then they convince her to repeat buy, and it's, 80% purchase rate back in is like their whole model. So for me, it's like every time I have one of those conversations and the type of, how do you convince your clients that they failed because they didn't comply and they should come back? I'm like, really? Can I be honest with you? Your stuff is awful. Like, you suck, So that for me is a really big part of my motivation as well.
Well, I think what makes you so magnetic too is you are very convicted. Like, you're very passionate about your way of seeing the world, your way of seeing your area of expertise. It's like, it doesn't matter if you're objectively right? Like, everyone has different stances on nutrition, but you have so much passion and belief behind what you do that the right people want to be on your side. Right. And that goes back to your ability to sell, which is something we all have to do, right? You're selling an idea, a philosophy, a movement, whatever. And I think that's really an amazing superpower. So even if you aren't like in the trenches as much doing that stuff, you still are at a higher level, right? For sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Did I see this on Instagram? You had dinner with the governor of Florida?
Yes, I did. Yep. A couple weeks ago, had a private dinner with him. I'm actually going to see he and his wife again tomorrow as well. We've been getting to know each other well, simply because, we are the fastest growing company in all of Tampa Bay the past 3 years. And, I think the governor here is wanting to get to know business owners. And it's funny because we had some very meaningful conversations about health and wellness. And then his new person who's in charge of kind of the health and wellness of Florida said many of the same things that I had been articulating with the governor. And I'm like, ooh, I think they compared notes after my conversation with he and his wife. So, for me, it's important to not align with, but be in conversation with leaders, whether they are, leaders in the government or leaders in other capacities. And so if I'm invited to a private meal with a very influential person in my community, I definitely plan to go.
Yeah. What is the belief that gives you the permission to have, not even permission, but what is that dialogue or that confidence to be able to like, I'm going to have dinner with the governor? Most people would be like, oh, there's no way that person's way out of my reach. But you're like, I don't care. I'll just knock on the person's door. Is like, how do you get to that level? So for everyone, and I want to relate this to everyone here who might have a sense of, well, that person might be too far out of my reach, or, this goal is a bit too far out of my reach. So what gives you that tenacity and self-belief to just be like, I don't care who you are, I'm going to have this conversation?
Oh man. Yeah. I mean, I suppose I've never been intimidated by other humans, because we all have our strengths and weaknesses. And I don't know that it really even crossed my mind to be nervous, maybe excited, but if the president of the United States or the governor of California or anyone, would invite me to a meal to have a conversation about what I'm passionate about, I mean, by all means, I'll do that. So I am not sure. I think a lot of us entrepreneurs just feel that we have this purpose and we're going to do anything and talk to anyone if we can move the needle forward, in regard to that purpose. But are you asking me kind of like how or why I wouldn't be intimidated to meet with people? Because I don't really know the answer. I need to think about that. What is it about?
Yeah, I don't know if there is an answer.
I don't know.
It's always fascinating when, and I think there's probably a multiple layered approach to this that maybe we're not even aware of. Like, some people, like if we look at door-to-door sales, some people just keep knocking on doors. No, they'll just keep going, right?
Oh yeah.
What is it that drives them versus the person who does one day of that? And they're like, you know what, this isn't for me. So it's very interesting.
Yeah. And I mean, I still do door-to-door sales every single day. I reach out to 20 influencers a day, myself personally. And, I expect 2 responses out of 50. And it's just math. I mean, that's what I do.
That's really interesting. So you personally reach out, like theoretically, this would be a quote unquote, maybe lower level activity that someone else could do.
Yeah.
But this is something you've done for years, right?
Yes. Yeah.
There's certain things in your business you just have to keep doing. You just got to keep swinging the bat.
Yep.
What has that allowed you to do? What have you noticed that, might be different 3-4 years and, having done that versus when you first started this same outreach process?
Yeah, I mean, it is absolutely easier now for me to receive a pretty quick reply just based on the accomplishments. And then I've also gotten much smarter about how to present campaign opportunities to influencers, the purpose behind it, the compensation plan, really aligning incentives. And I could have a lower level person reaching out. And I do have someone who helps with some of the back end admin. But, the reason that we've grown so quickly is because of my micro influencer marketing strategy. And so I'm not going to lose sight of that. Again, manage the focus. It's new clients, micro influencers, coaches. That's what really helps us continue to expand this movement. And I saw earlier someone said, what would you get if you had $1 billion brand or something along those lines? And the thing is, like, it's not just about me having $1 billion brand. It's not about Amanda. It's about the marketplace deserving faster way. I mean, my niche market deserves faster way 1,000,000 times more than Nutrisystem or some other crap product. So that's what it's about. I think that it's important for me to be, a $1 billion brand owner as a female entrepreneur, because we don't have enough examples of women with integrity who are growing substantial size businesses. And so I'm wanting to be an example to other women in that way as well. But, for me, I don't need more money. It's just like, we need to make that impact happen.
Yeah, that's amazing. Let's just shift focus to you being like a mom, kind of in that role while building a business, because, not everyone is going to be able to or have the desire to do what you want to do. So how have you, in the growth of this business, been able to maintain a great relationship with Brandon, a great relationship with the kids, being there, doing all the important things? What does that look like for you over the journey?
Yeah, I have 4 children, which is shocking even to me. I am so grateful for my kiddos, and I'm a very passionate person, and I kind of go all in on things. So if it is relating to the kids, like, I'm gonna go all in. Like, I'm not just gonna watch a soccer game, I'm gonna coach the whole team and be. You don't
play on the field?
I do during practice. I'm out there with them. But so here's the reason I wanted to retire by 34. We set that goal of 34 because we had our daughter Emma, pretty early, pretty young. And I wanted to coach her soccer team by the time she was 10, because I'm like, it'll be great if I'm able to be present when she's little, but when she's older, that's when she really needs me. So Emma is now 10, very involved in her sports and in her school. I just took my 3 VPs to Mexico last week for a retreat, and I brought Emma with me, and then I stayed 2 extra days with her. So just the 2 of us in Mexico. She thought it was the most incredible thing ever. It was really, really fun. And, it's just, again, managing the focus, even with the kids. Brandon and I have been best friends forever, but we try to go on a quarterly trip. We went to Little Palm Island in the Florida Keys last quarter. Next weekend, we're going to Nashville together on just a little couples trip. So for us, that's really important. We have a date night tonight, just being really strategic about prioritizing and focusing. And I feel a little lonely sometimes being a mom of 4 growing a substantial business, because there are not many examples. There's maybe a handful you can think of. But again, I want to be a role model of someone who can build an empire and make a massive impact while also still being an amazing mom. And, I think about this all the time. At my funeral, I could care less what other people are coming up to my kids and saying, your mom was so great, your mom did XYZ. I want Emma to be you have no idea how awesome my mom was. You have no clue, because you were at my house, so that for me is always really important.
It's amazing. What are some values and principles you want to instill in your kids that you hope that they emulate or live by as they grow older?
Of course, generosity, that for us is extremely important. And they're watching us launch this church in Clearwater, and, community giving back is just of utmost importance. Integrity, excellence, and bold action. I never want my kids to be hesitant or hold back because of any sort of fear. I want them to just go for it and pursue bold action.
I think you're a good role model for that.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Do you talk with the kids about business and wealth and all that kind of stuff and impact?
Yes. Yeah, all the time. My my second grader, he will be our CFO. He's really funny. I feel like this group would appreciate this. So I have this thing where like everywhere I go, I find money on the ground, like literally anywhere and everywhere I go. And during like some really challenging times in my business, I've had like very significant situations where like one of the worst, most expensive mistakes I ever made, I was like just literally going to throw in the towel. And I took a walk with my son that day and we found 7 pennies. And it was just like, okay, it was like really symbolic because we went up a bridge and there weren't any pennies and we came down the same way and we found 7 pennies. It was like very weird. But he finds money everywhere as well. And so I just keep telling him like, you're going to be the CFO of my company one day. You need to learn how to manage money well. He counts his money like every single day, but also like sees us giving back and being generous and all that. So yeah, we're very, very open with the kids. We talk, with them on our daily family walk and they hear the challenges and the victories and all of that.
It's amazing. Yesterday, I mentioned that you attract who and what you are. So finding pennies, finding money on the ground, that's the same thing as what we're talking about, right? Like you just attract things into your life based on how you show up in the world. And I think when we can recognize those as like, there's no difference between 7 pennies and $1 million.
Yeah.
Right? Energetically, it's stuff coming to you. So I think that's pretty amazing. What final words of wisdom do you want to share for maybe the females in the audience here who are building their businesses, who might be, earlier on or maybe growing through some challenges? What other words of inspiration would you leave with them?
Yeah. For the ladies here in particular, I would say, don't be afraid of winning. I think sometimes as women, we're almost more afraid of winning than we are of losing because there aren't many examples or models of women who are winning and it's going well. There's plenty of models of women who are winning and then being burned at the stake. And, we just have to shift that reality and create our own models and say, our reality next year at this time is going to be a direct reflection of what we believe to be possible, but then keeping that mission and vision at the forefront and being willing to win big, and then not only win once, but take it to the next level time and time again. And just the example that will be to our kids and our families and our communities when we do that, I think is really important. And anyone is welcome to follow me on Instagram at Amanda Tress, and you're welcome to email me as well, info@amandatress.com.
Awesome. Amanda, this has been amazing. Guys, follow Amanda on Instagram. One of the things I think you do an amazing job of is just being real. Like you show everything that's happening in your life. And you are the inspiration that got me on Instagram many years ago. Because I remember you and Steven were like, you got to be on Instagram. You got to be on Instagram. I was like, I don't want to do that stuff. And eventually I did. So thank you for leading by example. I want to really just honor what Amanda's done and just helping you guys realize what one person can do, right? Just think of this, like obviously she's not a one-woman show, but all of you have that power to be so convicted in what you do and understanding that it's not about the money, it's about the impact, it's about the people you can serve and just thinking about that and what that can do for, the employment opportunities that you might be able to afford other people eventually as you grow your team, the number of clients and people you can serve, being able to start a church, whatever you want to do in life, it's all possible. And this is why I want to bring these amazing individuals into these conversations to show you that none of these people are they're not on X-Men, right? They don't have superpowers. These are all regular individuals that have, I'd say, owned their skills and developed their superpowers over time. And just like you can, right? There's just tenacity, persistence, keeping at it. So I'm glad you guys enjoyed that one.